Not sure if you've heard this, but it's Morbin time. It's Morbin time, folks.
It's Morbin time!
Memes. What are they? Why do they exist? Can we stop them from existing? Maybe we could get a boomer to unironically say Morb to the midterms. Then finally, this meme will die. We have had 2 comic book movies about Batmen this year, and one of them is excellent, while the other stars cult leader Jared Leto. Morbius got memed so hard on the internet that Sony seemingly mistook it for genuine fan support and released it in theaters a second time, only for it to flop a second time. But harder this time. The origin of the Morbius meme train all started on April 2nd with this tweet from user Rada that read,
"The best part of Morbius was when he said, 'It's Morbin time,' and morbed all over those guys."
And you know what, honestly, great tweet, no notes, but along with it, I did notice something a little interesting on Twitter. It seems like at least some younger internet users genuinely didn't realize that this is a reference to Power Rangers when they say, "It's Morphin time."
Let's do it, guys! Right. It's Morphin time!
And then they morph all over the guys. And if you're one of those people, well then hey, now you know, but it did get me thinking there are tons of superhero memes out there. Morbin time might be here for a fleeting moment, but we also have classics like Batman slapping Robin, Moon Knight calling Dracula a nerd, Spider-Man pointing at himself. That last one became such a huge meme that it's been referenced in multiple Spider-Man movies. DC doesn't have the balls to make a Joker movie where he talks about his boner, but Marvel can make Willem Dafoe say,
"You know, I'm something of a scientist myself."
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
All they want with their unlimited mouse money they print from pretending to support gay people. Happy Pride. And suddenly I was struck with curiosity. I never really looked into the origins of these iconic superhero memes, but now I needed to know why Lex Luthor stole 40 cakes. Is he sabotaging a showstopper challenge in Great British Bake Off? That's one possible answer. Which of these memes are genuinely actually real? Which ones are fake? What did they originally say when they were first printed? I had to know. I couldn't sleep not knowing. So I took a melatonin, which did help me get to sleep, but then the next morning I was still curious, so let's find out. Sponsored by World Anvil. Let's start with a classic. I'm sure we have all seen this panel of Batman slapping Robin. I have it printed out on my bathroom mirror, which has really only distracted me when I'm trying to take my ADHD meds in the morning. Hey, what's going on? Yeah! Why did I come in here? The first memeified version of this panel hit the internet all the way back in 2008 with an extremely 2008 joke that read, "Hey Batman, what are your parents getting you for Christmas?" "My parents are dead." Hilarious stuff. This image was everywhere on the internet for like 5 years, even having its own subreddit with such bangers as, "You're too old to play Pokemon." "You're too old to be making fun of people on Facebook." "Miley Cyrus." "Shut the fuck up." That voice hurts to do, and I'm not good at doing it. The return on investment is bad. Also in this subreddit, there's a weird amount of right-wing talking points about voter fraud and gun control. Not entirely sure why you'd choose Batman to be a stand-in for someone who's pro-gun, but this subreddit is pretty much dead anyway, much like Batman's parents. "My parents are dead." The actual origin of this panel comes from World's Finest number 153, published in 1965 in a story called The Clash of Cape and Cowl. The story's a little complicated because it does take place in an alternate reality, which you know because the comic reminds you 4 different times that it's imaginary, as opposed to all the other Batman comics that are non-fiction. So in this story, when Bruce Wayne was little, his dad Thomas was researching an anti-kryptonite serum that would make Superman immune to green kryptonite, one of his only weaknesses. Superman, who's actually Superboy at this point in time, comes to get some of that serum, but it's not ready yet, so he's turned away by Thomas Wayne, who notes that Superboy almost looked angry as he flew off. Curious. That tragic night, a mysterious red-blue blur kills the Bat Dad and steals the anti-kryptonite serum from his lab. Ever the budding detective, a grieving Bruce realizes that the killer must have been Superboy because his dad's skull was crushed in by a super hard object. And don't laugh, alright, because the 1960s Batman TV show did teach us that free association is the best way to find criminals.
What weighs 6 ounces sits in a tree and is very dangerous?
A sparrow with a machine gun.
Yes, gentlemen.
the criminal catalyst in this entire affair. Our old arch-enemy, Catwoman.
Bruce then vows to seek revenge on Superboy and grows up to become the crime-fighting world's greatest detective, Batman. Except rather than wanting to rid Gotham of crime, he really just wants to take down Superman and will occasionally also punch a criminal or two. Other than that, Batman's history mostly remains unchanged. He even still adopts the orphaned Dick Grayson to become Robin. But the dynamic duo dissolve once Batman commits the gravest mistake of monologuing when he should have soliloquied. Robin overhears Batman's plan to kill Superman and tries to talk Bats out of it. There's no way Superman actually killed his papa.
Don't tell me I'm wrong, you brat. Proving Superman's guilt is my whole mission in life.
Ow! Batman, your grief has obsessed you with this idea of vengeance. I beg you, give it up! You may have noticed that the image in the comic is actually flipped from the typical meme format, and I think that's the right call here. The slap feels more like an interruption in the meme rather than a starting action in the original panel. I think it just flows better comedically. And if you're wondering what happens in the rest of this comic, it's wild. Batman doesn't want to deal with Robin undermining his anti-Superman agenda, so as if the slap wasn't enough, he wipes Dick's memory of ever being Robin and sends him back to an orphanage. Batman doesn't want a partner, he wants an accomplice. And he finds one in Superman's greatest villain, Lex Luthor. The two trap Superman using some kryptonite gadgets, but at the last minute, Lex accidentally lets it slide that it was he who actually killed Batman's dad all those years ago. Luthor used a robot that looked like Superboy to steal the anti-kryptonite serum so the real Superboy could never become immune. And the robot just sort of bumps into Batman's dad accidentally and kills him, so it wasn't even on purpose. A little salt in the wound. Learning the truth that Lex Luthor is bad, who'da thunk it, Batman frees Superman, but gets shot by Lex Luthor and dies. He dies. Batman dies. The end. And with the Caped Crusader gone, there's no one left to stop Joker from unleashing all his boners.
So, they laugh at my boner, will they? I'll show them. I'll show them all how many boners the Joker can make.
So I don't know if this meme was as popular as the others. I don't even know if it really even qualifies as a meme, but it's all my friends and I talked about when I was an immature guy in high school, compared to now where I'm a slightly more mature guy approaching his 30s, but I still laugh at boner. So, for example, we got a cat feeder, like an automatic cat feeder recently, and it does look like a dick and balls. So before we dive into it, this is real, all right? This is a real comic, not edited in any way. It comes from Batman number 66 from 1951, and it is just filled with incredible lines like this.
How do you like my boner crimes, eh? There are more boner crimes to come. Soon, Batman will make the boner of the year.
What does he mean, Bruce? How can he force you into a boner? I'm worried about the boner he's preparing for you. The word boner is repeated throughout this story nearly 40 times. It's spoken, it's written, everywhere a boner could be, a boner is there. Which is why I think this comic feels fake, even though, as I said, it is real. Obviously, at the time, in the 50s, the word boner meant something completely different. The biggest clue can be found in the story's title, The Joker's Comedy of Errors, which is also a fun Shakespeare reference. Didn't think we'd get one of those in a video about internet memes. And also the lead-in paragraph to this story reads, "You've probably committed boners in your time. Most everybody has. History is full of the mistakes of man, some of which could be written off, and some of which boomeranged into deeds of good fortune. But only a sense of humor like the Joker's could think of translating boners into crimes." So if you haven't figured it out already through context clues, during the early 1900s, boner was slang for blunder or mistake, which likely came from the insult bonehead, which is sort of like calling someone smooth-brained today. Isn't the evolution of language interesting and fun? It's fun, right? You're having fun? So basically, in this story, Joker attempts to make a crime, but he flubs it up. He cuts the power to the building he's trying to rob and realizes too late that his escape route through the elevator won't work if there's no power. Joker done goofed it up. The next day, everyone in Gotham mocks Joker for his error, or his boner. Some say he even pulled the boner of the year. Pulled that boner. Really tugged at it. And this emphasis on boners gives Joker an idea for a new adventure in crime. Gotham City will rue the day it mentioned the word boner. Joker then becomes obsessed with recreating some of history's most famous blunders. For example, he sabotages a bell tower to sink into the ground as an homage to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is one of the great architectural boners in history. I know they didn't know how this would translate in the modern day, but just the imagery and the phrasing and everything here, it's so good. But okay, this bit is probably getting really stale quite quickly, so I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Batman's last lines of the story when he says, "Let's hope we've the last of things, like boners." I think there's a typo in that sentence. Anyway, the boner jokes, they're over now. I know Spider-Man wants in on it, but we're moving on. In fact, I feel like I could genuinely make an entire video about the absolutely bonkers and incredibly memeable 1967 Spider-Man cartoon, and I probably will do that, so subscribe. In the meantime, though, Captain Midnight made a great video about it a couple years back that you can watch, link in the description. Also, I'm standing now. Let's not make a big deal about it. All right, I know. I'm a hero. No, my doctor just told me I should stand more often because I sit a lot at my job. That's actually a lie. I haven't seen a doctor in years. The thing about this Spider-Man cartoon, though, is that it really could have just disappeared into obscurity without anyone noticing, but thank God, in 2009, Marvel started streaming the full episodes from their website, which brought a lot more attention to the show's wacky scripts and low-budget art style that was perfect ground for weird, out-of-context screenshots. That was one of my longest run-on sentences to date. But undoubtedly, the most famous meme from this cartoon, it's gotta be this one, right? And it comes from episode 19B, appropriately titled Double Identity. And this is probably the funniest episode in the entire series, which is saying a lot because the whole show is just amazing.
Get the paintings in the van! I'll take care of Spider-Man!
Bars!
So in this episode, a villain named Charles Cameo, disguised as Peter Parker, steals an antique Shakespearean text, which is a second Shakespeare reference as we're talking about the origins of internet memes. What are the odds of that happening? That's so strange. I mean, do you think there's some sort of connection between these images and the way that they all connect back to... Never mind. Yeah, so J. Jonah Jameson defends Peter Parker, not because he likes the kid, but because he doesn't want the Daily Bugle to get caught up in a scandal.
I'll bet the one behind these robberies is Spider-Man!
Oh, Mr. Jameson, it's wonderful of you to stand up for Peter like that.
No credit to Parker, Miss Brandt. I just can't have the Daily Bugle involved.
Oh yeah, I forgot they call him Jameson in this show, not Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson.
But I can't be bothered to change how I say it. So after another art crime goes down, Spider-Man is now accused of being the thief by Jonah, who takes matters into his own hands. And that's it. That's the end of the series. No, I'm kidding. Only Batman's allowed to just die at the end of his story. Duh. What actually happened is Jameson, who's doing the shooting, wasn't actually Jameson. It was Charles Cameo, again, disguised as Jameson, doing more art thieving. So later at an antique show, Jameson, in heavy air quotes, is there about to nab some kind of shiny goblet when Spider-Man webs him up and starts to unmask him mustache first. But this time, wouldn't you know it, Spider-Man just got confused because this is the real Jameson, not Cameo disguised as Jameson.
It is you. But my spider sense, you pay for this, you bug!
And it's just really funny, and I like it. It's a good bit. Furious, and maybe a little embarrassed, Jameson calls the cops and tells them to set a trap to catch Spider-Man in the act of another art theft. Cameo shows up to the scene dressed up as Spidey, ordering his henchmen around, and that is enough to convince Jameson that the web slinger is behind the robberies.
There he is! Get him!
But to confuse matters, just then, the real Spider-Man shows up.
That man's an imposter! That man is the imposter!
So you might be wondering, what's Jameson's plan now?
See? I told you! Now capture him!
Which one?
I don't care which one! Get them both!
That makes sense. That tracks for him. The screenshot of the two Spider-Men pointing at each other was uploaded to the internet in February of 2011, but it wouldn't really become popular until around 2016 to 2017 when a Reddit user used the image to compare it to rapper Designer meeting Future. Because it was sort of a meme itself at the time that they sound the same, the image macro since exploded, and as I said earlier, it's been referenced in both Into the Spider-Verse as well as some behind-the-scenes photos from Spider-Man No Way Home. I guess you could also say it was referenced in the movie itself if you count this scene.
Peter!
Yeah? Oh, sorry. Did you mean that? Or...
And you know what? I think that rendition really takes the cake, but in a good way. Unlike Lex Luthor, who took 40 cakes, because that was a bad one, you know, because we were explicitly told that it's terrible. Do you like my long-winded segues between memes? I worked really hard on them. But if we're going to talk about sweet treats, I'm going to need some tea. Please send me tea to my P.O. box, link in the description. I'll give you a shout out in a video. Thank you. I'm drinking green tea with lemon today. Kiki, look, it's me. To be completely honest with you, Lex Luthor's 40 cakes meme was one that was pretty new to me, but I know it has a pretty big following on the internet, mostly because the concept and the phrasing is just odd.
When no one was looking, Lex Luthor took 40 cakes. He took 40 cakes. That's as many as 4 10s. And that's terrible.
You probably noticed that it doesn't look like this image is from a comic book, and it's not. It's from the 1978 Super Dictionary, a book designed to help children improve their reading comprehension via comic book characters. And honestly, I think that's a cool idea, and I'm sure it helped a lot of kids out, but a lot of the entries are just awkwardly phrased and very funny, unintentionally so.
There is something wrong with this basketball. Something is wrong with the ball we use in this game. Look at the other basketballs for a better one. Then we will play good basketball. Then we will play a good game.
Stuff like that. I do like that the entry for algae is Superman struggling to fight algae.
I'll fight the algae and win. I'll fight all these little water plants. They can't get the best of me.
I like this one too.
Clark Kent became Superman. Look up, become.
It's like they didn't even want to try for that one. You're on your own, kids. But I think Lex Luthor stealing 40 cakes stands out because there's some unintentional ambiguity in the last sentence of the entry.
He took 40 cakes. That's as many as 4 10s. And that's terrible.
Like, is it terrible that he stole anything in general? Or is it that he specifically stole exactly 40 cakes? Is that the thing that's terrible? I mean, this is the dictionary entry for the word 40. Is the number 40 itself inherently terrible? And beyond that, I was confused where Lex Luthor would even get 40 cakes. But then I remembered Jimmy Olsen is going to bake a cake. He's going to cook the cake in the oven. He baked cookies last week. Though, to be fair to Lex, I think he was just stealing the cakes to celebrate his birthday. Everyone has a birthday. Everyone has a day on which they first started life. Even Lex Luthor has birthdays. He has a party every year to remember the day he started life. So I don't think I can really blame him for it. This meme, by the way, even became canon in the DC universe thanks to Superman number 709 from 2011. During a flashback sequence, Clark Kent is sent to detention for skipping class, and it's there he encounters a young Lex Luthor, who is also in detention. His crime? Stealing 40 cakes from the school's bake sale. And as we all know now, that's as many as 4 10s. And that's terrible. All right, but enough reading through the dictionary like a bunch of nerds. What are we, Dracula?
Another flawless segue.
So before the Moon Knight show came out, I feel like the only actual comic book panels that existed online featuring the character were memes that are almost all entirely fake, including the most famous one where Moon Knight goes looking for Dracula because that big nerd owes him money.
I know you're here, Dracula, you big fucking nerd. Where's my goddamn money? Is that a Moon Knight accent? Is that what he sounds like? It'll have to be.
Now, it would be fun if this image was real, but it's not. The original comes from 1987 Solo Avengers number 3. In this story, called Tower of Shadows, Moon Knight slinks into an ominous-looking locale known as Shroud Castle. The original panel's text reads,
"After all, I'm as much a creature of the night as Russell is. Still, there was something about this place that set my nerves on edge."
Now, you might be wondering who Russell is and why he came up in this story. So, the plot of the comic is pretty fun, honestly. It opens with a classic Moon Knight internal monologue where he immediately quotes Shakespeare? Why do so many of these memes reference Shakespeare? I know. I don't know, it's just interesting to me how the word meme shares the same etymological roots as the word mimic, which was coined by the bard in A Midsummer Night's Dream, a play of lovers being led by mimetic desires. Adoration that was not originally their own, but was bestowed by a few accidental misgivings of magic potion, forcing Lysander and Demetrius to forego their love for Hermia and instead mimic a love for Helena. And if memes, as they were originally defined before the internet hijacked the term to largely mean image macros bejeweled with impact font, are units of cultural transmission, ideas spread from person to person within a culture, could love itself be a meme? Is it something innate within us or a concept that is learned and molded and passed on? The play itself asks this very question, for after the mischievous fairy Puck has dispensed the love potion onto the wrong subject, the sanctimonious Oberon lashes out in indignation. What hast thou done? Thou hast mistaken quite and laid the love juice on some true love's sight. Of thy misprison must perforce ensue some true love turned, and not a false turned true. But just sit with that for a moment. The presumed discrepancy between a true love and its seemingly inferior mimetic counterfeit of a false turned true is an arbitrary distinction that the story itself aims to undermine, as Demetrius, still under the influence of Puck's magic, retires his pursuit of his original love, exclaiming, "Lysander, keep thy Hermia. I will none. If e'er I loved her, all that love is gone. My heart to her but as guestwise sojourned, and now to Helena it is home returned, there to remain." And I guess we just gotta take his word for it. More like a Midsummer Night's meme, am I right? Anyway, Russell's a werewolf.
Oh my god, dude, come on!
Yeah, sorry, I just sort of got swept up in my own little world there for a moment.
Well, I guess there's nothing too wrong with that.
No, honestly, it was pretty fun. I'd recommend it, especially with the help of today's sponsor, World Anvil. Hi, I'm a sweaty, hardworking blacksmith. Oh no, I died! Hi, I'm that blacksmith's son. And when my papa died just now, he left me all of his anvils. It's honestly been annoying. They just take up space in my home, and I stub my toe on them every night when I get up to go to the bathroom. The same toe. Every time. I'm not a blacksmith, I'm a wordsmith. I like playing tabletop role-playing games and writing the next great novel. And if you're like me and you do anything that involves mapping out a fictional world of characters, locations, timelines, and more, having the right tools for the job can make plotting your ideas so much easier. You don't need a big, heavy, hand-me-down dad anvil. You need World Anvil. World Anvil is a set of world-building tools that helps you create, organize, and store your world setting. With wiki-like articles, interactive maps, historical timelines, an RPG campaign manager, and a full novel-writing software. World Anvil has all of the tools you'll need to run your RPG campaign or write your next novel. And/or you do both. They say writing a novel is just playing D&D with yourself. And World Anvil has just released an exciting new feature called whiteboards, which are designed to make organizing your thoughts and your world a whole lot easier. It offers a canvas that you can apply elements to, draw diagrams on, and connect things any way that you see fit. This gives you the ability to create expansive mind maps between thoughts and ideas. Use it to create a mood board to help capture the genre, themes, and style of your world. Heck, you can even use the whiteboard to create like a tavern board of all sorts of fun little quests that your characters could play in your campaign. Like a quest to help me get rid of all these anvils my dad left me. It's not that I don't appreciate them. It's just, if you could take them anywhere else. Is it weird that I'm posting this video so close to Father's Day? And as cool as that whiteboard feature is, that is just one of many, many tools that World Anvil offers you to help craft and manage your world. They got all kinds of stuff. I'm currently using World Anvil to help plot out an idea for a comic book that I have. It's been so helpful. And just for you wonderful nerds, you can get 40% off of all 12-month subscriptions when you go to the link in the description and use code NerdSync at checkout. Once again, that is 40% off of your 12-month subscription to World Anvil when you use the code NerdSync at checkout. So go build your world today! And name a character after me, please. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know that there are other comic book memes that I didn't even talk about, like Wolverine touching the photo in X-Men the Animated Series, so maybe we can have a part 2. Let me know what other memes I should cover in the future on Twitter, @ScottNiswander, or in the comments down below. And if you're new to one of my videos, this is sort of the thing that I do around here. I talk for a really long time about something incredibly niche, but along the way, I hope that we learn a little bit about something. So if that sounds good to you, then subscribe and hit that notification bell to become a wonderful nerd. That's what I call my audience. I think it's cute. If you are feeling extra generous, please support me on Patreon. I would love to hit 1,000 patrons this year with names like A Filthy Casual, Amanda Trisdale, BKBW, C. McCartney Smith, Christopher Lang. I'm recording this after midnight, which is why I'm whispering. DeCassowary, Edwin Latour, Eric Ketchum, Eric Tatorapato, Everett Parrott, Jacob Rundell, Jonathan and Megan Pearson, Jonathan Lanowski, Mars Sottledine, Marisa Wilson, Pete Temple, Silva Donut, William Tolotson, and the rest of the wonderful nerds over at patreon.com/NerdSync. Link in the description. My name is Scott, reminding you to explore your favorite art through curiosity and vulnerability. See ya.